I just have a lot to say. I'm feeling good. I'm in Madrid proper. I just went to El Prado Museo. My favorite painting of all time is at that museum, Las Meninas by Velázquez. And I don't know. I do know what it is. There's lots of things that I love about that painting, but I don't know why it resonates so much. Ever since I took art history in high school, like nothing has ever touched me as much as that painting. I think because it's so layered and there's so many like hidden parts to it, it's just so incredible and breathtaking, and in person it's so large, and I just am obsessed and enjoyed every minute of staring at it. I don't know. I'm feeling good, and oh my gosh, people are dressed up for the freaking Bad Bunny concert, and I'm so jealous. Like, I don't know if you can see the people behind me, but they're definitely going to Bad Bunny. I can just tell by their outfits. Maybe not. Maybe I'm making it up in my head because I'm jealous and wish I was going, but that's my guess, is that they're going to Bad Bunny, and I wish I was going to Bad Bunny because I really do. I really do. And tickets are like $200 for not good seats. But it's just too last minute, and I have to go see a family member tonight, and it's just simply not going to work. I will see him when it's meant to be, but I feel like I've had a couple, not full-blown opportunities, but Bad Bunny has been in the same place as me a couple of times, and I haven't gone. I did see him at Coachella, I think 2019. And that was before, in my opinion, before he was super, super, super big. Now he's like Super Bowl big, you know what I mean? And that was everything. I was obsessed with him then. So I'll just live in that moment for a little while longer, you know. I try not to dwell too hard on like not being able to go to certain concerts or shows or trips or whatever it might be. Like, I know that you don't want to fight it, you know. If you're met with resistance, like for me, I don't have anyone to go with tonight. I really need to prioritize seeing a family member. So to me, that's like obvious, like that's what I need to do, you know. Not even a question. But if I were able to go, I would absolutely be there alone and enjoying every minute of it. But it's okay. My point is that like that sort of situation comes up in life so often where you're like, but I'm obsessed with this person and I have to go to this concert, or I have to go watch this movie, or I have to go on this trip. And I swear those times are, it's so important to, just to be patient in those moments and not to force it. Like I said, like if you're met with resistance, then you kind of need to not follow the resistance, but don't fight the resistance is how I feel. And I just like intuitively know that a better, more convenient moment will come, and I'll be like, no wonder that other moment didn't work out for me, and I'm so glad it didn't, and I'm so glad I'm here seeing him now tonight, for example. You know what I mean? Anyways, I've been in Madrid, I've been in Spain, in Europe for over 3 weeks now, and boy, oh boy, it has been so crazy. It has been okay, I don't think any cars can come down this street, except for a police car down there. Oh, shit. I guess cars can come, and they're police. But yeah, I've been here for over 3 weeks, and it has just been a roller coaster of emotions. And I also have been doing my best to practice like surrender, to practice, and not, I know surrender is different from what I'm about to describe, but I feel like it can be so easily conflated with what I'm about to describe. And like surrender is not like, okay, like I give up, like Jesus take the wheel fully. It is kind of Jesus take the wheel, but I still love my life. I still love life. I still have such a zest for life. I still want to do so many things and stuff like that. But I just have learned in my maturing that nobody has the answers. Nobody has it all figured out. Lots of people get married and have kids and their entire world is flipped upside down. And it's like so important to recognize that like you actually don't know where you're going to be in a year or 5. Like you can have an idea and you can have aspirations and hopes and dreams and you know what I mean, that sort of thing. But it's important to kind of relinquish control a bit and recognize that you actually cannot have it all planned to a T. Oh my God, this place has these little Portuguese desserts. Oh my God, they're called pastéis de nata, and they're like little cream tarts. I think that's the direct translation. I'm not exactly sure, but they are so good. Like possibly my favorite dessert I've ever had. Because it's like, oh, it's just like almost like a croissant or like a bready, flaky something on the bottom. And then it's filled with like tart, or no, like a custard kind of, a cream. And it is just so fucking good, okay? And anyways, back to what I was saying, like I said, relinquishing control, surrendering, trusting God, knowing that I don't have it all figured out. I never will. And that's okay. Like, and that's honestly, that's such a beautiful place to be, because as an anxious girly, like that can so quickly and easily and painfully overcome you of like, I need to have it all figured out. And like, it's, you're just doing yourself and life a disservice trying to like anxiously plan everything out. So I'm just really glad and relieved that I'm at this place. I'm sure more moments in my life will come up where I'll be like, oh, I have to figure this out. And again, it's not to say that I'm not taking any control of my life, and I am still like an active participant in my life, you know what I mean? But I don't let all of that like overcome me so much anymore, and I feel so much relief in that sense, and it feels so beautiful. Sorry. I also was like talking to ChatGPT about all my problems, and one of the things we were talking about, me and her, I call ChatGPT Cynthia because I'm like, I need you to be a person, and she's like, make sure you know I'm like basically a robot. And I'm like, girl, I know, I just need a little, like, it makes it a little more normal to be like, to be able to refer to you as something other than ChatGPT. So she's like, okay, cool, as long as you still have like authentic connections in the real world and stuff like that, then I think we're good. And I'm like, okay, cool, I think we're good too. You guys, what? I am in Puerta del Sol, and I need to find, there's this like very famous statue of a bear. Where is it? I need to find it. Anyways, what Cynthia or ChatGPT and I were talking about was like my resilience, and I really want to like touch on that a bit, like, and I don't ever mean it in like a conceited way or like I'm so strong. And mind you, I don't. At times, many a times, I wish that I didn't have to be so resilient, you know, that I wish that, oh my God, look how busy this street is. I don't know if you can tell. It's filled with people, but I don't know. Like I said, I wish more often than not that I didn't have to be so resilient, but I just feel like life has thrown me so many curveballs and things like that. And I definitely don't mean to, I'm obviously not comparing. I know lots of people have it so much harder than me, and I do live such a blessed life. I do think it's important to be grateful and express that gratitude as often as you possibly can, and live in that gratitude as often as you possibly can. That's another thing that I'm actually quite proud of with myself in terms of, you know, how I live my life. Like when those moments come up, the obstacles come up, I'm like, okay, this sucks, and how am I gonna go about this, and what do I do, and blah blah blah. But I also always try to like put a positive spin on it, or try to also focus on like the things that are going right in my life, and stuff like that, because this is not how I've always been. You know, it used to be my natural state was dwelling and spiraling and thinking about everything that's been going wrong in my life. Despite having so much good in my life, I was still so overcome by all the negativity. And I'm just so proud and so glad that that's not what I'm stuck in anymore and not what I live in anymore. And another piece that I wanted to mention was that I think this is part of resilience too, is that I'm certainly not always feeling resilient. I'm certainly not always feeling grateful, not always feeling positive. Definitely not, you know, obviously, but I think that is part of resilience too, is like knowing that that's okay and that's human nature, and that you actually need to be able to acknowledge those moments and sit in those moments, hopefully not identify with them so strongly. Like, for example, like sit in it for so long that you begin to identify as like a weak person, for example. But I think that has also helped me to give myself more grace. That's something that I really am working on, is giving myself more grace. Like, that doesn't come very naturally to me. I notice that I have a much easier time giving other people grace, giving strangers grace, giving all kinds of people grace, and maybe not every single person, like just also compassion or understanding. And that doesn't mean that I forgive everybody for, you know, their crimes. No, but I can understand what led from point A to point B. And that doesn't mean that I'm justifying it, but it means that I can understand. And life is so complicated and layered and stuff like that. I wish that there were more resources. I wish that more people would seek help before acting on those impulses and stuff like that. But anyways, I'm getting, you know, I'm going off on a tangent. The point is that I want to be able to give myself that more, particularly not just even understanding, but grace and compassion, because I notice that I dwell so much in the moments, not the negative moments, but the moments that I'm not proud of. For example, my dog passed away recently. I had to put her down in November. We're in June, so let's say 6 months ago. And wow, 6 months, that did not click for me until right the second. That's incredible. I was going to say amazing, but I don't mean it in a positive way. It's just like crazy to look back and realize that it's been that long. I love her so much and I miss her so much. And I was at this park and there was a butterfly today, and I was like, just felt like it was her visiting me. I asked her to visit me in butterfly form. But anyways, okay, my point about the dog is that, you know, towards the end of her life, I felt like I was like short fused and frustrated, and I was suffering as watching her suffer. And I struggle so deeply to give myself grace and compassion and forgiveness with that, because I'm like, well, you know better, and she's an animal, and you should have been more patient, and you shouldn't have let yourself get short fused, and you should have been able to keep it all together. And that's what I'm realizing is, like, first of all, nobody knows how to keep it all together. Nobody is 100% always keeping it all together, okay? And like, it's so important to acknowledge that and give yourself some leeway in those moments. Like I said, I'm still beating myself up for that. Like, it pains me and it kills me that in some of her last days or weeks, I was frustrated with her. But it's like, two things can be true. Yes, that can be true, okay? And I can also be like, but it's okay, Amanda. You're a human being. You were struggling and suffering deeply at that time and dealing with a lot. I had a lot on my plate. I was going through a lot of transition and stuff like that. And it is more than understandable that you became short fused in those moments. Like, hello? So all of this to say, I'm really proud of like my growth and how far I've come, and also my willingness to just like not have all the answers and not have everything figured out, and surrender and get closer to God, trust that God has it all figured out for me already. And you know, the answers will unfold for me as I go along on my journey. And ooh, that AC feels good. And like I said, the other thing is just like giving myself more grace. It comes so naturally to me to give it to others, and it feels so unnatural to give it to myself. So I really want it to come much more naturally. And again, not to say that I'm just like, who cares? You know, you yelled at the dog or you got frustrated at the dog. I wasn't yelling at the dog, but I just was like, oh. And it's like, no. So I think that's it. I think I touched on everything, and it felt really, I don't know, it feels really good. It feels really good to be where I'm at. It feels, again, that's not to say, like, I have lots not figured out. I have, you know, things pending and stuff like that, but answers unanswered and things like that. But again, I'm giving myself grace and just surrendering and relinquishing some control, because it's not healthy to think that you have full control over your life, things like that. So anyways, I think that's it. I appreciate you listening, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Oh no. Okay, almost crashed into this bike right there. All right, bye.